Poems, Chapter 8. Private Property. He put a post every 3 yards. He strung the post tightly with barbed wire. He went to his house in the center of his land. He painted signs that said, "No trespassing. Violators will be shot." He posted his sign on every 30 feet of fence. He was a man who owned some of the earth. He was happy. People stopped when they saw his signs. They had respect. They went around his part of the earth. Like him, they believed in owning parts of the earth. They thought violators should be shot, especially those who did not respect private property. How strange to see the earth fenced and posted signs, and people so happy it's that way, defined as protected. Look how they guard the dirt that will bury them. Look how pleased they are to kill the violators. He who owns none of the earth is a free man. He laughs when he sees how others pin themselves up and guard the dirt that will bury them. Love. Love is like a red, red nose that no amount of makeup will cover. It raises the pitch of speech and makes bulges in your clothes. Nothing anyone says is taken lightly, and they always look at your face, then down at your neck. Your response to "what's wrong" is forever a high note. "Nothing." At which time your nose glows. You close your collar with your hand and ask in a low note about your messages. "Were this not so, I never wrote, and no man ever loved." Lunch. She was almost practically there, but knowing full well he would wait, she took care of a few business things, and time dragged on a bit. And after the time had slipped and slipped, she thought that perhaps he may have skipped. So before she wasted a pint of premium gas, she called his office, and when he answered, said, "Get off your ass. I passed by for lunch and you weren't there. I could have been wasting my time warming a chair." Befuddled and confused, he stammered a reply. "I guess I was blind. I never saw your car pass by." "Well," she said, "did you eat lunch then? If you didn't, we can try again." "Well, no," he said. "I never ate. I waited and waited. I thought you were just late. I'll meet you again in just a few minutes. But this time don't act like you passed by the place to cover the fact that you really were late. I was watching for your car. I was holding the cafe gate. You were just hoping I was the one that was late." Reflections on a day I visited. I talked to only a few people, but the people I talked to respected the little I had to say. I was warned about windmills. 4 people agreed completely with the negative summation of a barely important demonstration, which Drew called a mental masturbation. Not one of us knew the answers, and we tired quickly of the problem. This morning I awoke as if nothing had happened. I was convinced that people were ready for any new thing they could understand. I think now they were trying and tired of trying to pick up the near gold watches with the slippery three-fingered hand at the end of the toy crane in a glass bowl at the noisy quarter arcade. It's not what they must do, nor I. I'll be silent for a while. Respect is not all it's cracked up to be. Norman B. Solier. He had a nice chandelier in his dining room. The plates were ivory-colored and shaped like broad, shallow bowls. He used real silver for every meal. There were 2 forks, 2 spoons, 2 knives at every setting. I don't remember the glasses, but I remember the bell sound the glasses made. The floors were black and white tiles set diagonally, like in the Renaissance paintings. They were polished and covered by caravan carpet. He cooked his own meals exquisitely and shared them with a few good friends. He was an educated man, a sculptor, a poet, a lover. Pius XII, John the 23rd, Franco and Gandhi were his subjects and peers. He loved conversation. He was comfortable conversing in Latin and French and English, and he never made you feel uncomfortable when he spoke them. You were always included. His art was just an expression of the people he loved. When he was 48, he went to the hospital for a little checkup. I went to see him to share his time. He told me they had found a cancer, but that he had a little while, a few months. He let me cry in his room. He said he had a few more things to do and I could help. In his last days, we cast his statue of the Blessed Virgin. He had me give him a haircut so that he would look good for the requiem. He was a fine person, the last of 8 children, a pure soul. Poetic justice. The employee went to the rooftop to view the grounds and smell the air and see the city. He stood on a skylight. It fell through. He did too and died. His widow sued. She said it was bad construction and the builder was at fault. The builder knew the employee was wrong. He must have jumped up and down to push that window through. The builder would prove his case and stop that widow's suit. He took his lawyer, a reporter, and a camera crew, climbed to the rooftop, and stood on the skylight too. He started to speak. The window broke. He fell clear through. They buried him and laughed aloud and asked his widow if she would sue. Questions waiting on answers. The question is not existence. It's not knowledge. It's not truth. It's not beauty. The question is why we describe what we think with words that conjure no images, limit no space, stir no bodily parts, and silence our brains. Merton and other past thinkers were full of piety when they said there's an unknown being seen by silent people who are nothing in relationship to everything that is, including the unknown God. The seeds of contemplation are smaller than mustard seeds, and they never grow, and nothing comes from them, and they do not subtract from the unknown God. Is that supposed to be the good? And is that what faith is? H.L. Mencken told Alistair Cooke that if he, Mencken, went to heaven, he would tell the 12 apostles he was wrong. Can you do that? Can you just wait to see how it all comes out and afterwards say, well, I was wrong? How will everyone you know get even with you? Is that why silence and humility play such a large part in the notions of sainthood? Suppose you had been Calvin Coolidge and no one ever knew you were dead because you had no ideas and you annoyed no one. Would that be enough to qualify for a conversation with an apostle? How many of us say and know everything, yet when it's all over, no one knows we're dead? Does it matter when the directors ask about the business? Requiem for people in the background. He got sick, and after a while he died. I didn't cry. I didn't really feel anything. The pain in my chest could have been indigestion, or it could have been my heart. Whatever it was, it went away. I knew I didn't know what it meant to die. One day he and I were talking, and we said the usual ain't it awful things, and the next day he got sick, and he just died. I went to his funeral. He had a few hundred relatives, people he didn't know, people you talk to about your kids and work, people who remember your past, and that's all. And after the funeral, we went to his house, and everyone joked, and we ate his neighbor's food. The relatives worried about the kids. Well, they said they were worried about the kids. His wife sat near them. They didn't say much, but they cried. I've thought about this for a long time. It doesn't mean anything. It could happen to anyone. I don't mean dying. That happens to everyone. I mean seeing someone die and not knowing what to do about it. I mean not talking to them anymore. Not having a friend. Not knowing. And just being silent. The high bank over the Brown River. We ran along the bank of the river next to the woods, and below the brown water flowed over a muddy bottom, and broken sticks floated on the top of the slow stream. Whenever we came to a deep spot, Bobby Lee would dive in. I watched him swim, and I laughed with him as he got out. At one place, the bank rose high above the river. Bobby Lee and I stood and looked down at the brown water. He smiled at me, turned, and dove from the high bank into the river. As soon as he hit the water, I knew it was too shallow. I saw a spot of black, murky water swell at the surface, and Bobby Lee never came up. I stood there helpless, looking into the water. I said, Bobby Lee, where are you? Where is your gentle smile and easy love? Have you lost them in the black, murky water? As a child, I heard you from my room saying, I love you and the boys, and I'm wrong. I'm wrong. And Dad and Mom and you were crying. And through your sobs, I heard Dad say, Bobby, the dope will kill you. If you take that damn stuff, it'll kill you. Bobby, you can't come here and see the boys if you're going to take that stuff. The guard said, take that, you sorry motherfucking dopehead. Bobby Lee never came home. The guards washed away the dark, murky stains in his cell.